I was born during the same year that gave us Rush Hour, Peyton Manning, the very last episode of Seinfeld, thank God, and this gym.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I'm currently 24. I'm soon to be gainfully employed, which is really just a euphemism for I'm an unemployed bum. I usually sleep until 4 or 5 p.m. and begin my day when most respectable people are getting off of work, going home to their families, and generally thriving in life. I struggle with crippling anxiety, depression, and to top it all off, my doctor says I have something called post-traumatic stress disorder. They say it's because of childhood neglect, but I'm pretty sure it's just PTSD bleed from playing Call of Duty for over 10 years of my life. I'm alive, but I'm not really living. I spent a lot of my early childhood being a general menace, fantasizing about dealing drugs, starting a gang, fucking bitches, and awakening my Sharingan. I spent my later childhood by playing video games, watching anime, and spending way too much time alone with my own thoughts, usually opting to forgo social interaction for any available form of digital escapism. Flash forward to 2022. Joe Biden is our president, Naruto is being hammered into the ground for money, and I'm still doing all that previous shit. The anime that I've decided to hyperfixate on this week is Tokyo Revengers. This one was actually picked by my little brother, as we'd caught up with Chainsaw Man, which is admittedly pretty tight, but so far kind of hollow. We were still in the mood to watch anime. As my brother had done many times before, he suggested we watch Tokyo Revengers, and this time I begrudgingly agreed. 2 short episodes later, I'd find myself championing the anime's praises, and I wouldn't submit to the pushy solicitation of sleep until we'd completed the first 14 episodes, around 6 a.m. So what's the shtick? The story follows Takamichi Hanagaki, a 24-year-old do-nothing that spent the second half of his life running away from everyone he's ever cared for, apologizing for any minor inconvenience, and ultimately just following the path of least resistance. Does that sound familiar?
What a loser, huh?
While watching TV, he notes that the only girl he'd ever dated, Hinata Tachibana, had died tragically as a result of the Tokyo Manji Gang's most recent streak of violence. The next day, he's pushed from a train station onto the train tracks. He closes his eyes, unready to meet the grisly embrace of the train that's about to make impact. But as he opens them, he finds himself alive, on the train, 12 years in the past. After coming to an understanding of what's happened, he decides to relive the best days of his life and take revenge for his wasted existence. We've now reached the point in the video where I'm inclined to warn you. There will be spoilers ahead. If at this or any point in the video you find you might want to check this anime out for yourself, you should pause this video, go watch the damn anime, and then report back. After that, you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment on the video telling me that I'm an idiot that doesn't understand what makes an anime good. To continue with the second half of the first episode, while reliving the day that Takamichi found himself in, he's reminded of the life he used to have. A great group of friends, a fantastic girlfriend, and the goal to start a gang and control all of Tokyo. Me, personally, when I was in middle school, I was reselling Yu-Gi-Oh packs that didn't have any good cards in them and then selling them at school for some walking around money. Not trying to start a delinquent gang or conquer all of South Carolina. But hey, that's just me. It didn't take Takamichi long to find out that him and his group of friends weren't really built for all that, as they were approached by a gang of third years that beat the shit out of them. After that, the group declared that Takamichi and his friends now existed as slaves for the Tokyo Manji Gang. It's at this point that Takamichi remembered why he ran away from his previous life, with this incident ultimately leading to a year of servitude that would only end if he disappeared. On his walk home with his friends, battered, bruised, and defeated, he remembered his girlfriend of the time, and he decided to stop by her house and pay her a visit. She immediately deduces that he's been fighting, and she scolds him for fighting over stupid things and generally just being an idiot. Takamichi starts crying as he comes to the realization that the girl standing in front of him will ultimately die tragically in the future, and he leaves with tears in his eyes. It's at this point that Hinata makes the case for best girl, and Takamichi begins a long period of, well, crying. While walking home, Takamichi saves a kid from a group of delinquents that were harassing him, and upon talking to the boy, he realizes that it's actually Naoto Tachibana, the younger brother of his girlfriend Hinata Tachibana, and the other future victim of the Tokyo Manji Gang incident. After strangely asking Naoto if he loves his sister, Takamichi tells Naoto to take care of his sister, revealing that his consciousness has traveled back into the past, and that on July 1st, 12 years later, both Naoto and his sister will die. You know, stuff that only a kid would believe. Naoto promises to protect his sister. The two shake hands, and suddenly Takamichi wakes up at the infirmary of the train station he supposedly died in. The day is July 4th, 3 days after the incident. Wondering how he survived certain death, the man who saved him appears, revealing himself to be the Naoto from the present. Naoto reveals that in sharing the information 12 years prior, Takamichi had changed the past, driving Naoto to become a police officer and protect Hinata, but unfortunately he failed and Hinata is still dead in this present. Naoto asks Takamichi to use his powers to save Hinata. With that, the ultimate goal of the series is submitted in Foundation, and the first episode closes. The anime continues to follow Takamichi as he jumps back and forth between the past and present to save Hinata and right his past failures. His attempts lead him to join the Tokyo Manji Gang, and the show follows their evolution thereafter. It all seems to be this shadowy figure Kiseki's fault, and he later becomes the main antagonist, with a work ethic that would put Chris Jenner to fucking shame. But because we have another protagonist that can't seem to put two and two together, Kiseki doesn't even become Takamichi's main target until the second half of the season, because, I don't know, Takamichi's just a fucking idiot. Surprise, it's just middle school gang violence, baby. But hear me out, okay? If you think middle school gang violence doesn't sound like it would make for a very enticing or engaging story, just remember this. This anime takes place in Tokyo, Japan. And because of this, all logic and common sense can be thrown out the window, allowing for many wacky things to occur. You got middle school kids committing murder, lynching, riding around on motorcycles, just straight up walking into other schools, pulling students out of class, and a bunch of other shit. Where are the adults? Fuck them, the story would be shit without them in the picture. I'll tell you one thing though, this concept wouldn't work in America because we have something called the Second Amendment. That means that little Tommy can sneak into his parents' bedroom, borrow his dad's hobby AR-15, and fill Kiseki with more holes than the plot of Naruto. The anime offers a very diverse group of characters, and I suppose there's nowhere better to start than with our main protagonist Takamichi. In this installment of Weeb attempts to both review and recommend an anime while somehow accomplishing neither, I present to you a question. What makes a good protagonist? To me, the answer is simple. A good anime protagonist is someone that you get to watch grow and evolve in a way that urges the story forward. If you can connect with the character, then that's even better. If you can understand their goals and ideals, even more so. I ask this question, and I present my own conclusions in an attempt to defend Takamichi. While he exists as a whiny, crybaby, wannabe delinquent that's ultimately just a reflection of myself and the powerlessness that I had in my childhood, Takamichi evolves into a truly likable protagonist that's constantly assessing whether his actions would exhibit progress towards being a better person or evidence of a reversion to the individual he's come to despise. It's this continual appraisal and salience of the protagonist that reveals the true thing that I feel like Tokyo Revengers sets out to accomplish. While the anime tries to trick you into believing that it's about saving a girl or, again, just middle school gang violence, it's truly about saving one's own self, and I only realize that now as I'm writing this script. It's the flawless execution of this concept that made me fall in love with Tokyo Revengers almost immediately, because I identify with Takamichi in a way that I could never identify with the Gokus, the Eren Yeagers, and the Tanjiros. And it's because I'm able to witness Takamichi's constant drive to better himself on an innate level, and relearn aversive behaviors he subconsciously developed over the course of what he considers a wasted existence, that I find myself queuing up the next episode after the credits roll. Takamichi gives an audience of lost souls the inspiration to evaluate themselves and their shortcomings, find what they deem wanting, and then execute a path of self-betterment that I have never seen from any protagonist in my entire history of being a weeb. But God, is he a fucking idiot. Hinata is the best girl and she will fight for her man. That is all you need to know about her. Naoto is actually a really chill dude. He's a cop because his dad was, but he's got a bowl cut, so we support him. As far as Takamichi's friends go, the only one that really matters is Atsushi. In the beginning, Atsushi is the leader of Takamichi's friend group. He has one of the most genuinely saddening moments that I've ever experienced in anime, and I really want to talk about that because it involves the delicate intricacies of reconnecting with someone from your childhood, and it draws a lot of commentary on the concept of growing apart from those you grew up with. But because it's such a strong moment in the anime, I'm not going to discuss it here. Even though I really, really want to, I think I'll save that episode for a commentary video on its own. Mikey is the commander of the Tokyo Manji gang. He's actually a really decent dude who's crazy strong, and he has a famous explosive kick that I can only imagine wouldn't continue to catch people by surprise if it were actually that famous. He's super stubborn and resolute. Draken is the vice commander of the Tokyo Manji gang. He's the anime daddy of the show. Much bigger than anyone else's age. Keep in mind these characters are in fucking middle school. And he remains level-headed in even the most tense situations, resolute in his conviction to stand by Mikey's side. He's also got a fucking dragon tattooed on his head, and he did that in the 5th grade? I guess that's just something that happens in Japan? Kiseki is the main antagonist. Everything is his fault. He's probably the reason you prematurely ejaculated, and he's definitely the reason your parents got divorced. He's got a super punchable face. Should you watch Tokyo Revengers? Duh.